Hey everybody, what is up? This is Meyer, and what I want to be doing today is creating some old school trance here with the JP-8080 that I have. So I want to do all the sounds with the JP-8080. Now what I did here, first what I need to do, I actually need to get an audio track, and I'm going to grab it from the actual JP and set the monitor to in. That way we can actually hear. And what I've done is just created a really basic melody. You can see it here. Let me just go ahead and rename these guys. This is just lead, and give this a good color. Well, I guess the color doesn't really matter because I'm just going to be using this as a recording track. And then insert a MIDI track. So this will be like lead MIDI, and this is going to be lead audio. So what I'm doing with this is I want to basically, because we're using this as an external synth, we're going to be having to record this as audio and then put it with the audio track because it's because we're doing this old school style. So let me go ahead and play this for you. And while I play this, I am going to record the audio here. So just that way we can get this kind of basic part. Cool, so this is our lead audio. So now I can take this MIDI and let me just put it here on the lead MIDI. Assign track color to clips, cool. So the other thing I can do here, of course, I do want to delete this automation because I will probably use that again later in the future, but just so we know, this is like the lead audio, cool. And I'm just keeping the MIDI here in case I want to go back and make any changes to it. We have it here as MIDI. Cool. So this is like lead audio, filter, open. So basically when we're doing this, when we're doing like any sort of trance, obviously we want to think about our arrangement. So generally what we do is we have stuff that comes in, our sub comes in at bar 33, and then we have a point where our basically the kick comes in from the beginning, and then we have our breakdown, and then we have our big drop. So this part would be like the build up to the drop. So in order to really do this as old school, I'm gonna do TR-808 drums. Ableton Live actually has a really good 909 kit in it. If you go to drums, the 909 core kit is like pretty good actually. Which is cool because then I got all this stuff here. Okay, awesome. So let me go ahead and, so if we pretend this is where our main section is, let me just get some of these drums here at bar 33. So we're obviously going to have our kick on the 4s. And actually what I'm going to do is just set a loop here. Loop it, and I'm going to kind of quantize that. Cool. an 8-bar loop here. That's really embarrassing. Let's go ahead and I don't know what the difference between these two bass drums are. So yeah, that's cool. We'll build up the groove here. It's a little loud. I'm gonna pan this slightly to the right actually. Obviously, if we're doing this old school, we probably wouldn't be able to have control over all these drums like that, although I guess you could render them all down as audio, so that's not too bad. And close hi-hat, do these as 16ths actually. Just run it across. What's going on with this? Is it muted? What's going on? So if we build this around the drop, so of course what we want to have at all these is a crash at the beginning. I usually like doing these on separate channels, so let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to duplicate this. And unfortunately in live there's no way to duplicate it without getting the MIDI. These are just going to be like crashes. I'll give them another color. think I may put a little bit of reverb on this crash. And sometimes what helps is layering it with a snare drum as well. And I think this kick could use a little bit of maybe distortion or saturation. I like Camel Crusher a lot for this. You can really destroy it with this. You can see it. Can't see it. Are these just not load? Maybe the audio unit version? Nope. Camel Space? Oh, that's really annoying. Maybe I'll use Saturn. And at this point, I think I'll add a ride to the second half. So I'll just copy what the open hat is doing. I think the offbeat's fine. Maybe pan this a little bit the other way. Cool, so we can start building this up, and the next thing I want to do is get some bass sounds in here. So once again, I don't want to spend too much time on the sound design. We're here in F Lydian, so all right, so now I'm going to pick a bass. You can just play around with this, start from the beginning. Trying to add a little bit more delay. I realize I shouldn't be doing it on the hardware, or you guys will not be able to see what I'm doing. So sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and do it. And then we don't need all that much. We just need the Now I like the way that that sounds, but we need to make sure it also fits in when we have our chord changes with the bass. So check here at the MIDI. I know it starts on F. Maybe I'm gonna turn the delay off. We can always add that later. Cool, so let's go ahead and record this. I'm gonna arm it. Cool. Now that we have that, so what I should do is insert MIDI track, be like baseline 1 MIDI, the color, and of course we're going to insert an audio track. Here, this is going to be 1. Cool. So we got that. Don't need that anymore. Actually, you know what I should do? I should just have all this stuff. Have like a MIDI place for all the MIDIs. And then this is just going to be like MIDIs. Cool. And then I can just hide that, since I'm going to be working with audio with all this. So now what I want to do is record this part. And we don't really need to record a big part of it. But let me go ahead and just try to do that. Cool. So we got that. This is baseline 1. Not the color I'm wanting, but there it is. It's line 1. Cool. So I'll just shorten this a little bit and put it across our track. And I'll bring this down to the baseline MIDI track. Baseline MIDI, don't need that anymore. Cool. And maybe I'll just cab this across where it always is. Cool. So now I'm going to put a delay on here. So that's kind of helping give it the groove. Cool, so we'll do kick, and clap. Whoops. Kick, clap, and open hat. This is kick, clap, OH, and close hat. And that's pretty much the same thing. So this is when the sub's going to come in. So let's go ahead and get a sub. Go to the browser. I want kind of an FM style bass. Actually sounds pretty good. So let's go back here. Slater 1. I'll make this a square wave. And what I do want to see is what the frequency looks like here, since this is going to be our sub. Yeah, we'll use that one. Cool. And what this is just going to be doing is off beats. Pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and record it. Oh, come on. Oh, I know why. So this is where we can run into problems because there's a delay when we actually have the audio. So notice here how this is when we want the sub to start. So we can really easily fix that by setting the start point here. I'm going to do the same with this bass line. So we want the start point to start right there. So let's go. And this is a little bit long, so I think I am going to deal with them as individual notes. That's what was going on. Okay, it needed to be right up to the edge. Cool. Which means this is also something we need to do for these parts on the drop. This one actually looks fine, although it's not. We gotta set the start point. I don't know about you guys, but all of these need to come up. And I do also want to take a look at what the sub should be doing. So sub, and take a look at this. So it should be coming down to the F, down to the G, to the F, A, and down. So let's just go ahead and record this. Cool. So there's more sub stuff. I wish, I really wish there was a way to like normalize things in live, but there's not, which sucks. So these are the notes that I want. So I'm just going to be working with the audio directly. And then we're going to snag this note too. That way we just get all the parts we're looking for. So copy this over here. What would be really nice is if you could just not have it do that. Because that's kind of where I want it to start. I want to end a little bit earlier too. Okie doke. And of course, we're just going to grab this last one, like that. Oh, come on. And what would have been really smart, and I can still do this, take these and say sub. Oh, come on. Rename them as sub F. These are going to be, well, let me rename it. Doesn't want to let me name it. Something's off here. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, that's better. Sub A. And these guys are sub G. Cool. And this is basically the pattern that's going to repeat. I may render this down later, but for now, I think I'm going to just leave it like that. Then we get here to the intro. That's really annoying. That's fine, I guess. All these guys can go. Once I'm happy with the sound of this, I'm going to consolidate it. Yeah, that's good. So just Command J, consolidate that. There we go. This is just sub intro. So I'm happy with the way that sounds, so I'm going to consolidate it from here. It's going to be sub progression and just bring it across. Cool. So we want to start mixing everything around the kick. So now is a great time, if ever, to do it. It's a little loud. So I'm going to turn this lead down. if I just play this and a sub, I want to make sure because they're balanced. Sounds pretty good.